Howdy, Lisa. Good to see you. Hey there. We ready?
Yeah.
Everybody have their pin on? We're all pinned and ready to go,
There you
Mr.
go.
Secretary.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. You know, yeah, please take your seats, everyone. Although, Rob, in my old line of work, when we would put pins on, it was a little bit more painful experience sometimes. Some of my veteran buddies may know what I'm talking about. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. And thank you so much for the chance to be together this afternoon. You know, for a long time, we have been looking forward, maybe with some trepidation, but looking forward nonetheless to 2020. Well, 2020 is here. As you all know, our overseas military ballots go out in 16 days, right? Or start going out in 16 days. And so we have, in our office, made sure to remind ourselves we're not talking about next year anymore. We're talking about this year and the work that we all have been preparing for, the work that we all look forward to, and that is conducting a big election, a couple big elections for the people of Ohio. This is our big game, and we're looking forward to it as elections officials. It's hard to believe that it's been a year since I stood up here at that time as somebody who was about to take the oath of office to serve as your 51st Secretary of State. It's hard to believe that it's been a year. Rob and I have enjoyed working together, and thank you for your service to your colleagues here as the leader of this organization. I really appreciate it. Michelle, we've got this. I look forward to working with you and being your partner over the next year as we face the challenges and the joys and the excitements and everything else involved in running a busy election year in the state of Ohio. Lisa, look forward to working with you next year as well. Aaron, thank you for all your continued efforts on behalf of Ohio's elections officials. You all should know that Aaron has been such a frequent visitor in our office that I've joked about giving him a key card because I think he's just there all the time, and that's important for you all to recognize that that he's there to be the voice of Ohio's elections officials, and nothing that we've done, no major decision that we've made has been made without consultation with not only Aaron but the entire executive committee of the OAEO, and so we appreciate that opportunity to continue working very closely with them. So it's been a year. We've gotten a lot done. We have a lot yet to do. I think we all know that 2016 was the highest turnout election in our state's history. I fully anticipate that we will repeat that in 2020 and once again break our all-time record for voter participation in the state of Ohio. That would be a very good thing. In fact, you all would save me some embarrassment if we were able to do that. Some of you may have heard that I've got a little wager with that Secretary of State up north. And it's based on not what happens on the football field. That's gotten pretty predictable, but it's about what it's about what'll happen in the election this year. Not about who wins or loses, but about the voter turnout. And when the civic-minded, engaged, dedicated voters of Ohio show up in record numbers to the polls this year, and we outdo that state up north, the Michigan Secretary of State will show up to the big game this year, wearing scarlet and gray, and we'll all look forward to that. Let's not imagine what the alternative might be, though. So much of our work is devoted to one simple idea, and this is an idea that's well encapsulated in something that we wrote on the dry erase board in Merle's office, our Chief of Staff, Merle Madrid. And I'll paraphrase a little bit, but basically says, on election night, the world will know that Ohio's election was honest and accurate. I've described it like this: the voters of Ohio will go to bed on election night knowing that what they saw on their computer screen or TV screen or whatever medium they choose, they'll know that what they saw is the true reflection of the will of Ohio's voters, period, full stop. Voter confidence is what we do as elections officials, making sure that we run a contest that people know without question is honest and trustworthy, and they know that their voice was heard and that the process was run fairly. That's what we do as elections officials. And I'm going to tell you, when the eyes of the world are on Ohio, this year, we will be ready. It's not necessarily because of what we do at the Secretary of State's office, although we contribute, I hope, to that work, but it's because of the work that all of you do. As I've visited all 88 county boards of elections, some of you have heard me say, I recognize that I serve as the Chief Elections Officer of Ohio, and I love that job. I love every moment of that job. But I don't run elections. Don't run any elections. I don't open the polls at 6:30. I don't close them at 7:30. I'm not the one that recruits and trains the poll workers. I'm not the one that's L&A testing the machines. I'm not the one conducting the post-election audit. It's all of you that do that work. And that work is all dedicated to the idea, in my mind, of voter confidence. There's a couple other things that we have worked on this year, and you all know that we are in the final stages of working on, in some cases, that are all about voter confidence as well. One of those is that security directive. I gave you all a very difficult task about 7 months ago. And we all know that we are in the final weeks of implementing that security directive, which is due at the end of January. In fact, some of your colleagues are not here today because they're back at their boards completing some of the final steps of implementing their security directive. Well, what we came up with, not on our own, but working with the Association of Elections Officials, working with experts in academia from places like the Harvard Belfer Center, and people like the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, many others, is a list that has in many ways become the example that the rest of the country is striving for. Those 34 items, that pre-flight checklist for the 2020 presidential election that you all have been working through, it has become an example that many other states, like I said, are trying to achieve. We get a call all the time, at least did last year, from other states, and the question was, how are you doing it in Ohio? We want to try to keep up with what you're doing. And so we can be proud of the very aggressive posture that we've taken on cybersecurity. We can be proud of the fact that at the end of January, when we have completed all 34 points on that checklist at all 88 county boards of election, we will be ready to say that Ohio is the best prepared state of any state in the nation. And by the way, the results of that are already starting to show. Some of you are aware, most of you are aware, that we successfully fought off a cyber attack on Election Day just a few months ago in November. This is unfortunately the new normal. We have to be ready every day. We have to have our guard up, and I'm proud to say that we do. We were able to detect that, and we were able to fight it, and we were able to win. The bad guys lost and the good guys won. And we have to repeat that every single day. As you all know, just last week, I put out a list of IP addresses that had to be blocked. This is the normal course of business for us. We watch for emerging threats, we identify them, we respond to them, and we make sure to mitigate to prevent those threats from becoming a breach. All 88 counties are, and this is an important thing to announce, and I guess announcing this for the first time today, you all will be glad to know all 88 counties, as we speak, are having their Albert sensors delivered. That's ahead of schedule. Those Albert sensors are that very essential burglar alarm that will give us the early warning that we need so that we don't respond to a problem hours after the breakout has occurred. Those Albert sensors are what allows us to make sure that we are able to surge the resources where they're needed to respond to problems. And again, it's a big accomplishment for our state that all 88 county boards of elections are going to have those ahead of schedule. That's a great thing. And I'm also happy about the relationships that we've been able to build. It is not just up and down, it's also lateral. And what I mean by that is we've worked well with our federal partners. I know that we've got some of the team here from DHS now, and I know that we're going to be hearing from Director Krebs later on. I'm really excited about that. But we've built a great relationship with our federal partners. We're on the phone with them on a daily basis. We work very well together, and that's a great, great thing because they recognize they don't run elections. They don't want to run elections. That's not their goal or ambition, but they do know that we run elections. We collectively, you run elections, and they want to bring us the best resources they have at their disposal to make sure that we can continue to run fair and honest elections. And so they've demonstrated that to us. And for that partnership, I sincerely appreciate all of their help. Also, I think that the lines of communication have worked well between us and our county boards, and that's something that we continue to work on every day, and that's a two-way street of you communicating with us and us communicating with you. I know that our regional liaisons have been a constant presence in your boards and have been there to answer questions and help you resolve challenges and that kind of thing. I know that our team has really focused on being responsive, answering questions, responding to your concerns, and trying to help give you guidance where we can. But also laterally, we've been communicating well with our other 49 states, secretaries of state, and elections offices. We have a very good relationship with the other secretaries of state, and we communicate quite frequently with them. And it's because of that, again, that our security posture is as strong as it can be. One other thing that pertains to voter confidence that all of us have been thinking a lot about, and we talked about a little bit at the security meeting that we had a month ago, is combating disinformation. I think you all know, very simple idea, what's the best antidote to a lie? How do you combat a lie? With the truth. We have a good story to tell. We have a lot of truth that is worth sharing. Elections are run honestly in Ohio. Thousands of your neighbors do this twice a year, every time we hold an election, and that's a story that we should tell. We should bring more people into the board to see all of the security protocols that are in place. We should personally, whenever we can, as centers of influence in our own families and in our own communities, push back at some of the really damaging false narratives that are spreading all the time, sometimes by foreign adversaries, sometimes by others. But people that try to call into question the veracity of our elections, we need to call them out on that, and we need to make sure that Ohioans know that their voice will be heard, their ballot will be accurately counted, and nobody should ever skip an election because of a concern about security. Combating disinformation is unfortunately a part of our new normal. There are those that are trying, like I said, to intentionally spread false narratives, and they do so with one goal in mind. From everything I can tell, our foreign adversaries and others that spread disinformation are trying to delegitimize our elections. They're trying to cause average Ohioans to doubt that elections matter. They're trying to cause average Ohioans to question whether it's worth it to show up and vote. Well, not on our watch. I know that each and every one of you, regardless of party, shares my commitment to reminding Ohioans every chance we get that elections are powerful and every Ohioan should participate. This is something that we can do together, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. Being in contact with your local press is important, and as I have traveled all 88 county boards of elections, we have really worked to make sure that the local newspaper, the local press was there to help tell that story. It's a positive story to tell, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. But there have been other things that we've been doing to try to tell positive stories as well. We've been working to make sure that young Ohioans are aware of the great opportunities that they have. Sending a voter registration form to every graduating high school senior last year is an example, and something that we plan to continue. Going out to high schools and helping them run mock elections where we would let them vote on homecoming king and queen using real voting machines. And then as they were coming out, remind them that now's an opportunity to become a registered voter and to sign up to be a poll worker as well. I know poll worker recruitment is something that all of us have on our minds constantly, and I think that we've done a good job, and there's more to do to encourage young Ohioans to take advantage of that Youth at the Booth program and sign up to be a poll worker as a 17-year-old. I've enjoyed being able to communicate with some of Ohio's companies and businesses about how they ought to consider giving their employees a day off to be a poll worker. That Day for Democracy idea is something that I think is really worthwhile. And I know that we have a working group that's working on a whole variety of ways that we can continue to increase the number of poll workers through creative means like that PEO working group. I look forward to the results of what they've come up with. I do want to recognize our regional liaisons, other than one who's out for the day. I believe that they're all here. If you all would raise your hands. Have they been doing a good job for you guys? Have they been doing a decent job? Good. Glad to hear that. We intentionally built a team that shares my passion for this work. We've intentionally built a team that shares my passion for elections, that know how powerful this is and know how hard working all of you are. And many of you have heard me say this. It's always something to get people's eyes rolling whenever somebody says I'm from the state government and I'm here to help. So we won't say that. We say, let us prove it to you. Let us show you how quickly we return your phone calls, how quickly we respond to your emails, how responsive we are. By the way, how quickly we get resources to you. As we know, when we launched our security directive work, one of my first goals was to grant the money to you all as quickly as we could. I was not looking to create hoops for you to jump through in order to access those funds. I can tell you that I have every intention of repeating that with the new allocation of HAVA money that's coming our way. My goal is to get that to the counties where it can be best used as quickly as possible without making you stand on one foot and rub your belly and pat your head in order to get it. Let me finish with this. I love what Rob did with the pins as a way to recognize all of you. Rob and I have been kicking ideas around for a while. I wanted to, I don't know, come up with a bumper sticker slogan or something else. At one point I said, how about I run elections, what's your superpower? You know, something like that, something to demonstrate really the dedication that all of our elections officials bring. And you've heard me say this before, the one mistake our elections officials make is that you all make it look too easy. If there's one mistake that we make consistently, it's that you all make it look effortless, that the mark of a professional, you know, is somebody that does something really difficult and really complex and they make it look like it's no problem. And that's what all of you do, such that Ohioans show up at the polls a couple times a year. They participate in our month of early voting. They cast their ballot by mail. They come and do weekend or evening early voting. They vote on election day at the polling places. And then they just magically expect around 9 p.m. that those results will come streaming across their screen, and they never think about the hard work that goes into it. In fact, they think that you all work 2 days a year, right? Well, that's because you all have made it look so easy. And in an era when we are faced with a very credible threat from foreign adversaries who want to delegitimize our elections, that want to make Ohioans question whether their vote matters, it will be all of you that will make sure that they lose and that we win. You all didn't sign up for this fight. You all didn't sign up to be involved in a global struggle against our nation's most aggressive foes. You all signed up to run elections for your neighbors. Very honorable thing in and of itself. You didn't sign up to be in a battle with Russia, North Korea, China, Iran. But that's the fight we have. And I know that you all are equal to the challenge. And it will be because of the dedication and the patriotism of Ohio's elections officials that on election night, every Ohioan will know that their voice was heard and that their vote was counted. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
I have your pin.